afternoon, everyone, and welcome to you all. I'm Dominique. I'm from Environment Education Victoria. We're a professional association for environment and sustainability teachers, and we're based in Victoria, Australia, as part of a national association of environmental educators called Australian Association. So just some super quick housekeeping. If you haven't already, just keep your microphone on mute for the session this afternoon. We will be recording the session, and if you're comfortable, you're welcome to leave your camera on, but if you prefer not to be on the film, then you can pop your camera off. That's totally okay. So I'd like to start by acknowledging Aboriginal people as traditional custodians of the land on which we're all gathered today, wherever we are in Australia, and in fact, wherever we are in the world. I extend my respects to elders past, present, and emerging of all Aboriginal nations, and I respect and uphold their vital and continuing connection to the land, air, waters, culture, and all living things. So where I come to you from in Melbourne, in Victoria, Australia, I'm on the land of the Kulin Nation. So if you'd like to now, I'd love for everybody to say hi to each other in the chat and just let us know where you're coming from today. You can use, if you haven't already used the chat function before, there's a little speech bubble down the bottom of your screen and you can type in there. So we have just an hour together this afternoon for Stories of Sustainability. This is part of the Education for Sustainability Starts with Teachers project that's funded by the Department of Education and Training Strategic Partnership Program. So thanks very much to the support of all the EVE staff in putting this series together and to the Committee of Management for bringing this event online. So this series is an opportunity for teachers to hear the stories of sustainability and environmental learning that's happening in schools around Victoria and to share in that learning. And in today's session, you'll find out about the Young Person's Plan for the Planet program, which provides students an agency to address this concern by evaluating local, national and global responses through the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals lens, and to be actively involved in their local community by providing solutions using STEAM and enterprise development skills. You'll hear from the student leaders who are joining us this afternoon, who've been instrumental in initiating and developing a social enterprise called Bumble Wraps, to combat the use of plastic in food packaging by students. So just a little bit about the presenters and then we'll start. Veena is the STEAM and technology leader at Viewbank College, and she's been involved in the Young Person's Plan for the Planet program since its inception. She currently serves on the board of the Frank Fenner Foundation, which runs the YPPP program. Veena is joined by 3 student leaders at Viewbank College, Larissa, Rose and Maddie, who have been instrumental in initiating and developing this social enterprise, Bumble Wraps, to combat the use of plastic in food packaging. So I'm very thrilled to have these wonderful representatives from the school join us this afternoon. Veena will start in just a moment. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, I ask you to use the chat function. I can see lots of people have said hi to each other in there, and please pop any questions that you have that you would like Veena or the students to answer into that chat, and then I will pause throughout the presentation and we can ask those questions then. The time that we have at the end when Veena and the students have finished presenting will be a chance for us to have a more general chat, and people are welcome to turn their microphones on at that point and ask some questions for some direct response from the students and from Veena. So I'd like to hand over now to Veena.
Thank you so much, Dominic, and thank you so much to Eve for giving us this fantastic opportunity to present the Young Person's Plan for the Planet and the social enterprise that our students have started. So, and a warm welcome to everyone who is joining and has already joined. Let me also start by giving our pledge for the country. So we have about 65,000 years of Australia's Indigenous people have set an example, not only for our nation, but for our planet. We acknowledge Australia's traditional owners and custodians of the country, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, the first innovators and carers of this land. We especially recognize the elders of tomorrow. They are the future of this earth. So let us all join together to respect and acknowledge all First Nations so that we may walk forward together. So warm welcome again, everyone. So I'll give you a small brief about what Young Person's Plan for the Planet is and why it is so important for our schools to consider some programs like this. So this particular slide encapsulates everything about why the impact of YPP or YPPP as it is called. This young person, Harry Tunks, was the first was part of the first group of YPP, and he went and he presented to the parliament and spoke about how he was feeling undervalued and what he could not do as an impact on climate change and other SDGs that we are going to talk about. Today, he is the youngest councillor in Australia. He is representing the young teenagers who have now a voice and are trying to make a difference. And we've seen that through so many marches that young people have conducted over the years. So yeah, Harry Tunks was one of the first of YPP group, and he is now leading into politics and trying to change how we govern. So what YPPP, as everyone calls it, is supported by the Australian National University. Australian National University is a stakeholder in this program. And this particular slide from talks is from Brian Schmidt. He's the Vice Chancellor of ANU. And this whole comment from him really talks about why we need to focus on the Sustainable Development Goals. So all of us have seen that, you know, when we talk about different stages of industrialization, and this slide is talking about exactly the same. And if you look at the sixth wave, we are currently in the fourth wave, where we are talking about digital networks, we're talking about biotechnology, software information, but we are rapidly moving into the sixth wave. And that is, the first one is sustainability and radical resource productivity, biomimicry, green chemistry, industrial ecology, and renewable energy. And so everything that we're talking about has got its roots in sustainability. As I was saying, that the sustainability is a key driver for our future and for future prosperity. So how do we catch hold of these concepts and bring it to our students and bring it into our schools and develop an ownership, a student agency and student voice in this program? So that is the idea behind YPPP. I'm just going to walk you through some of the research that was done by Australian National University as well. What they realized was that if we only 10% of the identified opportunities for sustainable prosperity in Northern Australia, so only one section of Australia, it could contribute to 15,000 jobs, about $15 billion in revenue, and a whole lot of social and ecological benefits. So there is absolute justification why we must have sustainable development and why we must focus on that. And we must encourage our young generation to be an active participant of this. So when we talk about challenges, we talk about climate change, we talk about food production, we talk about species lost and population increase, consumption, speed. We're just moving towards sustainability and we don't know how to really go about it. But all of these challenges can be looked at as opportunities. And so these are the direct correlations as to how challenges can be converted into opportunities. And again, that another is the focus of YPPP. I don't have to tell you how much this is true. And we know, we have seen the bushfires in last December. We've seen what it is doing at Great Barrier Reef. We know that we are inching towards a major ecological disaster. We've seen a continuous talk about so many species being lost. So it is a sense of urgency, and it is today that we need to do it. So Young Person's Plan for the Planet was started in 2017. It was started as a part of ANU partnership, and Ian Chambers decided to go forward and pilot this in 20 schools in Australia. So what they did at that time, they converted or they mapped Australia into 20 eco zones, and each school was given control over one eco zone. In that year, in 2017, we formulated, all 20 schools came together and formulated the first plan for each of the eco zone. And I will talk to you about what it means to make a plan and what is the process of YPP and how it works. But in 2017, that was the first time that schools in Australia came together to form a national plan, looking at all the 17 SDGs, mapping out the local areas and local regions, and presenting this plan to the Prime Minister's representative at the time at a conference in Canberra. It was very well received. It was the starting point of YPPP as an entity giving students the voice and agency in 2017. So how does this work? What do we do in Young Person's Plan for the Planet program? This program is totally focusing on sustainable development goals. It is, as Dominic introduced, we encourage STEM, we encourage enterprise thinking, and we encourage student agency and student voice. So bringing all those skills together, we develop a plan. So there are steps to developing that plan, and I'll walk through to that as well. You talk to your local organizations, your council, your research organizations, you get input from them. So there is a research component to it. You develop your plan as to what is being done in your eco zone or your local area, and then what needs to be done. And that is what the whole slide is talking to you about. So these are the basic skills that we have mapped. As I said before, the Sustainable Development Goals are the keystone of this program. The STEM skills are critical in bringing about a change. And the design thinking that is implemented here through research and evaluation, to challenge-based learning, through global citizenship, so strategic planning. These are the key elements of this program. When the students talk to you about it, they will definitely talk about their experiences within all of these areas. So we'll go forward, and I'll give them that opportunity to really talk about their experiences. So when we implement the Young Person's Plan for the Planet, or any school implements the Young Person's Plan for the Planet, they go through these 6 steps. They focus on the first 20 things that need to happen in each ecozone or for each SDG. So that is very critical, that we focus on each SDG and what is happening in that SDG. Um, the second step, after we have identified what is happening and what needs to happen, we go into scoring from 1 to 10 what is critical, urgency and importance. And then using the 80-20 rule, we come up with the top 4 priorities as to what we need to kind of focus on for that particular year, or in that are the first top things that we need to focus on. And then the group gets together and starts thinking about how do we plan for this. So what will be the vision? What will be the objectives, strategies, action, who, when, where, how, and what is the evaluation criteria for this? What are the measures for this? When you have done all of that work, we come into the build part of it, and then we bring in the documentation of this. So the frameworks around it. And once we have that, then the step 4 is to synthesize it with the regional eco zone. So if there are other schools working in that zone, or if there are if there are no schools in that zone and you're the only one, then you go and collaborate with some other states and eco zones. And then, of course, we try and get the government involved. We talk to our local MPs, we talk to our outside stakeholders who can support, influence, and implement priorities that we have set about. So it gives students that agency to kind of be the change makers that at not only at the school level, but also at the community level. And then you have, using these government agencies, you start implementing action, you start implementing projects, and therefore you develop your enterprise skills, you develop your business skills, and that is the whole structure. So as I said before, these are the little bit in detail, how we go. Maybe you can see the form. These are the forms that we use. That is what is happening throughout every SDG currently. And all students take part in that. So when we have done all these 17, that is what we did. We collated everything and we collated into a national plan in 2017. We now have a regional plan or a state plan done for every state. And we're hoping that we will be able to connect to all the government agencies at a deeper level on that. Because we are the only one probably, or the students are the only one who have actually worked so hard on every single 17 SDGs and created a state plan. So this is a small snapshot of what you do as a part of Young Person's Plan for the Planet. It is a completely free program. It is based on students, it's based on teachers volunteering into this. Every school implements it in a different way. There are schools which implement it as electives in their school. We implement it in a different way. We implement it as an extracurricular activity. So it depends on school to school. There is no set rules. There is no particular requirements that you have to follow to implement this. It's really something that you can modify to your needs. What other exciting things that are happening, and in 2020 we have started working on this. So we have developed an MOU with Curtin University, and through their challenge platform. So Curtin University has already done a fair amount of work in educational innovation and partnerships area. And they have already a program or a platform called the Balance of the Planet. What we are trying to do is through their partnership, we are hoping to develop micro-credential courses for students and teachers who are participating in this program. we have this year been able to secure partnership as well with the United Nations Association of Australia. So we are hoping that it will be accredited by them as well. But most importantly, what we have seen as a part of YPP and our experience is that our students have got the unique opportunity to go and actually partner with students across the world. We have now 5 countries which are now part of this program. And during the conference, which you can see the slide now, which was in Mauritius. So in 2018, we had our conference in Mauritius. And Mauritius has now implemented it widely across their schools. And that was the first time when students from Australia actively sat opposite to students from Mauritius and Singapore and discussed their plans and worked on their priorities for SDG as a global plan. So 2019, we had more students from Singapore, and we also had students from India join us. And we were lucky to get some grants from the Australian Indian Council towards that. So last year we had students from Australia, Singapore, and India come to this conference, where they had this unique opportunity to actually understand each other's issues pertaining to all the 17 SDGs and come up with a plan of action going forward for each of them. This year, we have been able to get Japan, and Italy has just joined the Plan for the Planet. So it is growing, and a lot more countries are showing interest for this unique program. I have just included this slide so that I can give a brief outline as to what our conferences look like. We do invite a lot of keynote speakers, so they get to hear some prominent personalities in this space. I must mention Professor David Gibson here. He is a UNESCO Chair for Higher Learning, and he is the driving force behind Curtin University's partnership with YPP. So it's very, from a teacher point of view, it's remarkable to be able to listen to someone as illustrious as Professor David Gibson. So what have we found? So ANU did some research in 2018 to find out what was, how did YPP or YPPP impact? And so you can see that that particular slide shows a drastic improvement into all the 4 sections of awareness, understanding, motivation, and action orientation before and after YPP. And the same things that in 2017, when they did that, they found that there was a big change as well in all these aspects. And I think that if we do it now, it will be even more. So that is a quick snapshot of how the whole program works. This year we have also won some awards, and we were very happy to receive the Student Action Team of the Year award from Sustainability Victoria. But others from Mauritius and other schools have also won awards for this particular program. And as I mentioned before, that is where we are at the moment. We are into all these different, we are connecting with all these different countries, and through our Cisco Digital Schools Network as well. These are our partners. We are partnering with schools in India through the Kotak Education Foundation. We are partnering with schools in Mauritius we are partnering with schools in hopefully now in Italy as well, and Japan. And we have been being supported by ANU, the Frankfurter Foundation, Curtin University, DFAT, and other agencies, and United Nations Association of Australia. And that is where I bring my presentation to an end. And I invite my students to talk about their social enterprise, which was as a result of this YPP program. So I'll stop sharing now. And maybe.
Thanks very much, Veena. It was great to get an insight into the program.
Thank you.
Okay. And so we've got, in just a moment, I think, Larissa, when you're ready, you can share. But while you're, oh, yep, great, ready to go. Were there any questions from the audience about what Veena shared about the YPPP program? I don't have anything in chat. But one thing that I was thinking, Hayden O'Doherty, a teacher, would like to know, how do you sign up for YPPP?
I will send the, so if I will put up the, in the chat, I will put up the email address as well as the website. So you can go and register through that. Great.
And I'll also put it, whatever you pop into the chat, Veena, I'll put in a follow-up email when I send out the recording of the presentation next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Larissa, Rose and Maddie, are you ready? Yep. All right. Excellent. Hand over to you guys.
Over the last few years, as part of Young Person's Plan for the Planet, we've been working on beeswax wraps. Every Monday, a group of around 15 like-minded individuals, such as ourselves, meet to discuss new ideas around the United Nations Sustainability Goals. Over the years, we've discussed projects and initiatives such as our beeswax wraps enterprise. Last year, we focused on the Sustainable Development Goal 12, ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns.
So our project began when we noticed an increase in single-use plastic waste at our school, particularly plastic sandwich wrappers and snack packets. It was such a shame that people couldn't just use the plastic containers, but then we thought there are some tasks that plastic wrap can complete that plastic containers just can't replicate. And that's when our beautiful idea came to us. We wanted to attempt to change this culture at our school, so we created Bumble Wraps, reusable beeswax wraps that can be used as a substitute for cling wrap or plastic sandwich bags.
To make this product, we started by cutting our cotton material into 35 by 35 centimetre squares. We used pinking shears to cut them out as it prevented the fabric from fraying. This material was given to us by various donations of fabric, old sheets and tablecloths from the school community, making it sustainable.
So we purchased a block of beeswax online which already contained pine resin, which would ensure our wraps had antibacterial properties. We heated up the beeswax in a slow cooker until it melted.
Then, using paintbrushes, we painted the beeswax mixture evenly all over the fabric. Using an iron, we then heated the beeswax, allowing it to seep into the fabric. Making sure every part of the fabric was covered. Lastly, we let them dry and they were finished. Early on in our design process, we decided on the name Bumble Wraps, highlighting the use of beeswax in the wraps in a fun, unbelievable way. Our logo was based on the hexagonal design, which is symbolic of honeycomb, indicative of the use of beeswax in the wraps. It incorporates the Young Person's Plan for the Planet logo, as well as the name of our project, Bumble Wraps.
So before our retail days, we made posters and stuck them up all around the school. We also shared our purpose and advertised Bumble Wraps by promoting them at the STEAM Futures Conference. We mainly aimed our product towards students and teachers at Viewbank College, as well as parents when we sold them at the parent-teacher interviews. Before selling Bumble Wraps, we made sure each was neatly folded and packaged with our logo so that customers would spread the word about our product and our purpose.
We then proceeded to sell our first wraps at the STEAM Futures Conference held at Viewbank College outside the conference building during attendees' lunch breaks. We sold these wraps for $5 each. The option of paying by cash or card helped create an easier, stress-free customer experience, promoting customers to purchase more wraps or to recommend the products to others. When we sold the wraps at school, parent-teacher interviews from 2:30 to 5 p.m. in our library. We upped the price to $7 in an effort to raise more funds. This gave other parents and teachers who did not attend the first event a chance to purchase the product.
Now, what were we going to do with all that money? Well, we wanted it to go to a good charity, of course, preferably one to do with honeybees. So that's when we came across the charity, the Ween Bee Foundation. So the Ween Bee Foundation is a not-for-profit organisation that promotes the importance bees have for our food security. The foundation funds vital research and education initiatives that strengthen honeybees, improves pollination, and increases food security. The donation we have made to Ween Bee will help them finance many things, such as investigations of the biology and the behaviour of pests, such as varroa mite and small hive beetle, research into a wide range of bee diseases caused by viruses, bacteria, and fungi, information to beekeepers and the public about biosecurity and the best practices in beekeeping, stock improvement programs for honeybee resistance or tolerance to pests and diseases, and issues affecting the viability of the beekeeping industry that also affect bee health, such as access to good pollen and nectar sources.
At the STEAM Futures Conference and parent-teacher interviews, we were able to sell over 100 Bumble Wraps to students, teachers, and parents, and the few that we had left over were eagerly bought. Overall, we were able to cover the costs of production and raise over $320 for the Ween Bee Foundation, which we're incredibly proud of. We were also able to raise awareness about the copious amounts of single-use plastic that is used at school each and every day, and encourage people to make an easy switch to reusable products.
So in the future, we are planning on selling Bumble Wraps at events where students have access and opportunity to purchase them. This is because we've only been targeting our sales at teachers and parents, and we'd like to enlarge our demographic to people of all ages. We would also like to look at focusing a couple of lessons in Year 7 and 8 through technology classes to making beeswax wraps. This could help encourage more sustainable behaviour among the younger year levels and bring awareness to the amount of plastic being thrown away. We've also been making a website for our beeswax wraps that we are hoping to be able to use to take online orders and enlarge our customer base from our school to the general community. So that was our project, and we're happy to take any questions.
Great. Feel free to take yourself off mute if you had a particular question to ask the students about being part of the project. Or you can type it into the chat and I can ask them. A fabulously polite audience this afternoon. I will ask a question while people think about what they might like to ask you. Can you talk about what the highlights and challenges were of being part of or creating the product in the end and selling it?
I would say a huge highlight would be like just the actual experience, like being able to learn how to kind of run a bit of a small business, you know, even with the school. It was cool to get that kind of exposure. You know, that's something I could have never gotten anywhere else. So that was really fun. And being able to sell it to people as well, you know, in that kind of nice environment, it was really, it was really cool.
Oh, great.
Hi Rose, Divya here from India. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are. We can hear you, Divya.
Yes, Rose, a beautiful, thought. But how did you come across? Like, how do you think that, bee wax could be, change, you could bring a change, reducing the use of plastic using bee wax? When did you think about it?
So we did a bit of like a brainstorming session at the start of the year in 2019 about possible projects we could do. And one of the things we were thinking of was how to reduce plastic waste and everything. And a couple of us had been using beeswax wraps just in our lunch instead of cling wrap. And then we kind of made the decision, well, we could promote this and hopefully it would start getting rid of some of the non-reusable plastic.
Wonderful. So you did a lot of research, you spoke to them, you understood the technique, how they were doing it, right?
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks, Divya, for that question. We don't have anything else in the chat other than some congratulations for a great project. Well done. Are we? Yes, no further feedback there. So maybe you could talk a little bit about, I know you're finishing high school this year, and if this has had any impact on what you think you might like to do once you have completed high school.
So yeah, I definitely think it's made me think more about like my future job as in something that I'd want to be able to help people with, or something that would make a greater impact. So yeah, originally I was thinking, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to go into, but after this I'd kind of become more confident in my abilities, and now I'm looking to go into somewhere in like the science or medical field, because I feel like I could really make a difference there, or I could help like the world progress in some way and yeah, make a difference.
Great, thanks, Rose. Larissa or Maddie, did you want to answer that?
I've always wanted to go into medicine ever since I was a kid, so it hasn't really changed anything, but I'd like to still be involved with the program and do stuff according to sustainability when I leave school.
Oh, great. So it's really interesting because I think sustainability is increasingly mentioned in fields beyond just traditional sustainability associated things. I know that there's a medical association, an association for doctors against climate, or not against climate change, but working towards climate health. They're a really interesting association in Victoria. And I remember hearing a case study a number of years ago at a conference that I attended from a health practice in regional Victoria that had a real focus on sustainability and actions for the environment as a way of increasing the health of the community. So they took that really strong focus on these actions not just being good for the health of the planet, but also really important for the health of people in the community. It's really interesting when you can think about sustainability isn't just a subject by itself or an action that you take in isolation from everything else, just the interconnectedness of it as a concept.
Yeah, I would say that this kind of program really permeates across all school areas. It's not limited to just one section, because you can definitely draw links to maybe science, to maths, to humanities, and all about all other subjects as well. So it is something that really impacts students in a very integrated way, rather than the very specific way.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just like to add, and I was like, imagine at their age they get to learn not just science, they also here learned about marketing. They understood about the markets out where, the customers, how they have to market the product, how they have to manufacture. So it's amazing. So they have integrated almost science, maths, as Veena just mentioned, everything together. So it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maddie, did you want to add anything?
I just think that being given the ability to mentor students, and I want to go into educating people in the future, and I think that it's really given me confidence, like the others have said, in that field. So I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Maddie had to finish and wanted to wrap up. So whenever we are ready, I think Maddie wants to wrap up this presentation.
Excellent. All right, go ahead, Maddie.
Ultimately, our goal to engage our school and the broader community with sustainable projects has been overwhelmingly successful, receiving a great deal of support from foundations and conferences alike. Along our journey, we've acquired a breadth of skills regarding economics and business management, which can be implemented into our future pathways. Creating and running our own businesses has provided us with incredible first-hand experience, thus giving us the confidence and inspiring us to pursue future sustainable projects. From being given these amazing opportunities, such as being invited to the It's Our Future Earth conferences both in Mauritius and Singapore, YPPP has given us the chances to hear different insightful perspectives from all around the world. Our group has also received a Smart Schools Award, recognising the work we've done. Furthermore, YPPP has exposed us to the circumstances from all these different countries through letting us engage with and befriend with international students from Singapore, Mauritius, and India. This allows us to empathize and better understand the measures that need to be taken to improve our planet. In the future, we aim to continue developing our group and pursue our goals of liberating the youth of our community by giving them a voice. With new exciting projects ahead, such as our Green Wall, we aim to promote a healthier environment and continue expanding our group, allowing us to conquer more global issues. At the heart of Young Person's Plan for the Planet, our ultimate goal is to provide a platform to those who are passionate and need to be heard, working towards providing a better world for those future generations. Thank you.
So I think Maddie summed up everything that we really wanted to say as a success of this program.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure, Larissa, Maddie and Rose, to hear from you and your experience in the project over the last couple of years with the school. There's a great question here actually from Amruta. How would you like to share this work with other people? This is one great format, but is there another way that you see that this might be communicated more broadly?
Girls, anyone?
So I know that we've got a social media page now set up on Instagram. So we're using that at the moment to try and reach a broader range of like students that are like younger. So yeah, I know that there's been a project to do that.
Great.
And I will add to that. So the YPPP website is now putting up all these projects that students have done from all different areas. So that could become a big project bank, if you will, of getting other people involved and inspired maybe.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Veena. And do we have any other, we have some time now if people wanted to ask some general questions about the project, about how they might involve their own students.
I might add one more thing here that earlier this project was designed for secondary school, so year 7 and upwards. But we've seen that schools in Mauritius and schools in India and even now in Italy are keen to implement it in primary sections. So we are actually quite happy for schools to include it in maybe at year 6 level or year 5 and 6 level, where they can probably dilute the process a little bit, make it easier for the students to understand and then implement it. But the focus of the thing, the program is to make sure that the students get the STEM skills, the enterprise skills, and the design thinking behind it to kind of take the project forward. And of course, the international partnerships and all of that, and the focus on SDG continues.
Excellent. And it's great to see a project where it is multinational sharing of ideas and resources and experiences and opportunities. It must be an incredible thing to be able to do when you're a young person, not just an adventure for when you're an adult.
That is definitely what we observed when we went to Mauritius and Singapore, that students had no idea of the challenges that other people face in their communities. And so just sitting next to each other and talking about it is such an empowering place to be in this dialogue that we continuously have about sustainability. But we actually don't get these opportunities to discuss it with the person who is involved in that. So when we had discussions with our students from India or from Mauritius, their take on SDG projects and the way we look at from our context, it was pretty interesting to see how what commonalities were there and what were the differences. So, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I don't have any further questions from the audience, so we might wrap it up there.
Yep.
Been an absolute pleasure having you this afternoon, Veena and Rose and Maddie and Larissa. I'm so thankful that you were able to share your experience of being part of YPPP and the impact that it's had on you personally, and also the way that the project fits more broadly into education opportunities for students. So it's been fabulous, and I'm very thankful to the audience also for being able to come along and to hear about your experience. I will share this recording with everybody that has been here today. I will send out an email next week, and you're free to share that with whoever you like. I will put some of the links. Veena shared the contact information if you're interested in being part of the project, and I'll link to the YPPP website as well, so if you're interested in finding out some more. So thank you everybody again for coming along this afternoon. Stories of Sustainability has wrapped up for this term. This is the final of our 5th workshop, but I will be running another series next term for teachers and students who are interested in coming along. In fact, I will try and seek out some more students to be part of the presentations, and you're more than welcome to register and to come along for those and hear more about how sustainability is addressed in schools, particularly around Victoria. So thank you everybody. Veena and Rose and Maddie and Larissa, if you'd like to stay, I'm going to ask people to say good afternoon. And I'll just wrap up with you guys once everybody has left.
Thank you so much, Dominic, and thank you so much, Environmental Education Victoria, for this opportunity for my students and I to share our story. It means a lot, and I hope it empowers other students as we go forward.